believe in change and we're prepared for it with new techniques and new approaches. And as for our part, we feel that you're the best pieces of manpower available in this whole region.
Let it go out there today, baby.
3, 2, 1.
And once again, our mighty ship is back on course.
Welcome to the Sports Talk with Devan Wade podcast.
Oh, mama, there goes that man. You the man. Ladies and gentlemen, star of our show.
Welcome to another edition of the Sports Talk with Devan Wade podcast. Devan Wade with you alongside Reggie Brown, former NFL. I have his credentials up at the top during at some point of the podcast. And just welcome you here and want to encourage you to make this as interactive as you can. You can go to Facebook to the Sports Talk with Devan Wade group and join the group. And also you can call the sports line 832-941-6614. That's 832-941-6614. And subscribe to the YouTube channel for all of those who are listening to the podcast. We still everywhere we normally are from an audio standpoint, but we've added a visual component. And one of these days we'll go live. So there's that. Welcome aboard, Reg.
Hey, let's go, man. With the crazy world of sports is getting even crazier, huh?
It is, man, in a lot of ways. And, I got some medicine. I won't endorse anybody unless you are in the endorsing business. I've been watching a lot of those YouTube videos too, by the way. Have you gone down the path of YouTube, liquor videos, for as it were?
Well, I'm from the hood in Miami, so I'm not as refined as you. So
you have become refined. I visited your home. You're very refined.
Hey, you see the good stuff is still in the cupboard. I'm still on the Mad Dog and the Cisco. My taste buds ain't ready for the good stuff yet.
Not Cisco. Y'all, man, look, man. The what they say about Miami cats, man. Y'all, okay? Now I know Bubba's not from Miami, but he's from the U. Right. But y'all are the two coolest people I know from Miami. Everything else I hear about Miami are like horror stories. You know what I mean?
And it's an acquired taste. I can tell you that Miami. I didn't know about South Beach until I got about 24, 25 years old. And
that was right down the street.
Right down the street. Growing up, being a young black man, you did not go to South Beach. That was an appetite for destruction. And
so did y'all do the family trips to the water anywhere?
So there was what would be called the Black Beach, which was called Holova. And that's where the family was. But we would almost go to, go all the way around. So instead of going 79th, and I don't want to get too deep in it, but instead of going 79th to get to the beach, we would go to 163rd and then go around and go all the way around and then come back up because you ain't want no problem from them folks.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I didn't. We didn't quite have that. We had Surfside was where a lot of the brothers went, but everybody could go to Galveston if they wanted to, and did. I went to both, but yeah. So let me tell you this, man, before we get into it. This was a traveling weekend. This past weekend was a traveling weekend for me. And that being said, I have come to a determination that Google Maps is trying to unalive your boy, okay? They're trying to take me out. 2 times in a row I've been to Mississippi, and they have sent me down the back roads, man. And that is not where you want to be. Look. I don't take the back road. The only place I take the back roads is South Park. I don't take the back roads anywhere, and Google Maps knows that. I stay on the main. I don't get off of, I stay on the major thoroughfares. Right. So why, when I get to Mississippi, you want to send me down some dark ass road that ain't even labeled? They were like, turn here. And I'm like, whoa. Wow. And you were on the phone with me. Man, that was a harrowing experience. It really was. I was uncomfortable. And that's the second time, because the last time it sent me down the Natchez Scenic Highway. Now, if you've been to a scenic highway, first of all, what in the hell is scenic about the
Right.
middle of the night after a
Yes.
football game?
Yes.
No lights, no stores, no gas stations, nobody behind me, a couple people passed me in front. It was, yeah.
Well, the
It-
one thing that I know about Mississippi is there are black nights and then there are black nights. And when you riding in Mississippi and you turn down one of them roads and it ain't no lights out there, man, you drive fast, you blink them lights, you got to be careful, man. And that's just the way
I was driving fast and slow at the same time. I almost hit a rabbit. I ain't know what to do. Do I go fast? I said, man, if I hit a corner, I hit one of these ravines, they won't find me for 3 weeks.
Right.
I'll be chained up in somebody's basement.
And you sure don't want to get a ticket back down one of them back roads, right?
And I know, well, no, I wasn't going to get a ticket on the back road. They would have to follow me 25 miles to 55. So, no, it would have been a slow, what is it, a slow speed chase.
OJ Chase.
Man, look, I would have put on my flashes. I'm like, hey, and we would have took it to 55.
Man,
55, y'all can lock me up, but I need to be somewhere where other people can see me. So, yeah.
Very good.
And it was a bad trip, but I'm not gonna badmouth Mississippi Valley State. They have their own problems, apparently. They were supposed to play FAMU in Atlanta, and that game got postponed. So after being there this weekend for the first time since 2019, yeah, I can see.
Well, I will tell you that I hate that happened. You and I talked about your experience down at Mississippi Valley and what you had to go through as an announcer, and it just leaves such a black mark on HBCUs and everything that's going on. So I'm hoping that they fix whatever the things are. And there's been, when you don't come out and say what the thing is, then everybody starts to speculate, which makes it even worse. And
Right.
I hate the communication behind this situation and not playing in Atlanta.
Yeah, and what I will say, and I don't want to badmouth Mississippi Valley. They're a valuable member of the conference.
Of course.
Some of the greatest football players in the history of football, or at least one of the greatest football players that ever played a game, came and played on that field, and their contributions to the SWAC are enormous. I don't want to badmouth them, but yeah, and I won't go into it, but it was not a great experience. It was a really, really challenging experience to say the least, but Texas Southern came out with the win. So there's that. But I can tell you this, I'm probably, they probably won't look forward to me coming back because I was probably not obedient enough, and I'll leave it at that. So, but other than that, man, life is good. You guys got a big win, Alabama State. It seems to me that the SWAC is kind of all over the place. I can't figure it out. The only thing that seems to be constant is Alabama State. Seems to be the only thing. Southern is, they struggled against Valley, and you don't know what ultimately Prairie View is going to be. Valley was pretty good. Terrell Buckley, and we talked about this, and I want to mention this. So it's 4th down and 4, I think it was. And they were deep in their own territory, around the 40-ish, or 40, maybe 46-yard line. And Texas Southern had no timeouts left, trailing by 4. It was 20-16. So they were trailing by 4, needed a touchdown, no timeouts, minute 55, I think is what it ended up being. Tigers scored throughout the game, but it was never, explosive. It wasn't fast. They only scored 2 touchdowns and a safety. It was sort of meticulous, kind of methodical drives, running the football, mixing it up quite a bit. So you have to believe, odds are, if you kick that ball off and make Texas Southern go 70 yards or 75 yards for a score, it's a tall task. Not that they couldn't have gotten it done, because they certainly had the personnel to do it. But up to that point, you hadn't seen that from Texas Southern. You didn't see that they have quick strike capabilities. So Terrell Buckley goes for it deep in his own territory, doesn't make it, and gives the Tigers the ball on the 47-yard line, right, of Mississippi Valley State. 3 plays later, Tigers take the lead and win the game. But Valley really gave that game away with that move. And we discussed this. Terrell Buckley, did he make the call? I said, I mean, that's just a horrific call by him. Or was you said something else? You said, what did you say?
Well, I can't believe that with a minute and 50 seconds left and your defense has been holding Texas Southern at bay, as you correctly state, there wasn't any explosive plays. Texas Southern did score, and those were meticulous drives and all of those things. I can't believe that a competent coach would call a fake on that play at 4th and 4. I just can't believe, especially if it were 4th and 1, possibly 4th and 2. Okay, you try something. 4th and 4, you gotta punt that ball. In fact, I was already thinking as I was listening to the game. I mean, again, just side note, you did another great job of putting us right there, and even under all of the rest that you were under for the game, you did a great job of really letting us feel like we were right there in the stadium. But I had already started preparing, like I gonna have to call Dish and encourage him. You're finna drop 0-4 and you lose to Valley and all of this stuff. And then I'm listening to you and I hear you say, it's a fake. And I'm like, wait, what is he talking about? It can't be a fake for real. Like, I'm thinking something has happened in the stands, something has happened in the press box, but they did fake and they didn't get it. And, that's a fireable offense. And I love Terrell Buckley. He was a heck of a cornerback in the league and, a great guy. But, man, going for it on 4th and 4 and you're 0-3 and you haven't won a game, man, that's almost a fireable offense, man.
Well, not in Valley. At Southern, he'd be gone. They would have fired him Monday.
No doubt. No doubt.
But
Jackson State, Alabama State, almost anybody aside from Valley would have fired him.
So I did not hear post-game comments from him, right? But I got some insight today. I interviewed Trenton Leary. He was the return man on that 4th down. And what he said to me, he said he watched the up back. He said, and what he would do is he would pivot and turn his whole body to look back at the punter before he did this. He said this time he just did this. He said, I immediately yelled fake. And, and it worked out. So that is further indication to me that they were told to do that.
Well, that might be indication that the up back done decided he's going to be the hero.
Now he'd be the one. He'd be on injured reserve for the rest.
The coach get fired. If it's the player, he loses scholarship. And that's just the reality.
It's a cold game.
You got to go home, man. You got to go home. Find you a D3 school to go play at if you still want to play, but you can't do that.
not in this way. Tough break. But you know what? Valley beat Alcorn. Pablo beat Alcorn last week, so we got them this week. I don't know that that's going to be an easy matchup either. It looks like they're pretty good. So it's a lot of balance. I think it's just a new day in the conference in that, traditional powers may not, everybody has to recalibrate and figure all of this stuff out, man. And you would think like the traditional schools probably have higher turnover. I don't know. It's hard to judge, and I hadn't looked at the numbers, but you would have to believe that there would be higher turnover because if you won the conference last year or you were very competitive, it seemed like the vultures would come in for those guys first, and that creates an imbalance or just a weird set of circumstances year in and year out. What do you think? Because you watch the SWAC, you're seeing what's going on.
Well, I think Alabama State lost about 8 guys that, we really wanted to NIL deals going other places. They had a great year at Alabama State. These kids have agents now, and the agents go and take their film and market them, and then they leave. And so all of a sudden, you're getting starters for 1 year, and you're getting the quarterback for 1 year. And when all of those things start happening, it just hurts to continue to build teams. That's the part that I want players to get paid because I think they deserve it. But man, I think that some things suffer under the current way that we operate. You don't build camaraderie with your teammates. There are some kids out there that they may or may not get their degree, but they would have went and played at 4 different universities over their 5-year college career. And I hate that they don't get that experience. But at the cost of $50,000 a year for some kids, hey, I'll risk it.
Yeah, I think, and we both talked about this before too. I do think that there are kids that end up making bad football decisions
Man,
based on short-term money, meaning
man,
that they were probably in the right system with the right
yes,
nurturing
yes,
coaches, playing
yes.
for the right coach, have the right school environment. We had a kid like that at Texas Southern a few years ago, and U of H came and got him, but they didn't understand or realize how much support and how much the university or the athletic department had to do to just keep him on the field and keep his mind right. And you're not gonna get that everywhere. And so those are the tales of
Well,
of
I
things that
remember
could
you
go
and I
wrong.
had that conversation about that kid right there. And we both wondered how he would do at U of H given the circumstances. There's no doubt about it. He could play at University of Houston. The issue is, as you correctly state, the support and the camaraderie, and at Texas Southern, he probably was one of one. Well, U of H has recruited 5, 6, 7 of that same guy, and the competition.
And if they want to replace you the next year
Yeah,
with somebody they feel like will be even better, you could have a nice, decent season and they still can go to bid for a kid that they feel is a better prospect. So it's
and it's more than just a better prospect. We saw this kid, we paid you 5,000, but now this new kid that we saw and his agent came in, and now the price tag on this kid is 7,000. So now who we gonna pay? The kid we paying $5,000, the kid
right.
we paying 7,000.
Well, and most times coaches are always gonna go with the guy that could, as opposed to the guy
Yeah, yes.
the entity, the quantity that the one that they'll opt against that for potential. We see it in the NBA all the time. You have guys get drafted out of high school when you have other guys that their ceiling may not be as high, but they've been
Right.
productive college basketball players, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They still gonna go get a high school kid, sit him on the bench. He's gonna get paid a gazillion dollars for 3 years, and you won't know until it's time to make a decision on the extension whether or not he's even growing into being who you want him to be. So, and I think that's hurt the NBA in a lot of ways.
And
So,
this kid that's coming from, let's say, North Carolina, who's been a 4-year starter, consistent, great
in the
work ethic,
ACC,
all
yeah,
ACC, all of the stuff. So he's going to be a productive pro. You don't, like you said, his ceiling may not be all-star, but he's going to be a good pro. But then this 18-year-old who's dunking
right.
at the gym, but then you wonder about the character and you wonder about all of the stuff and all of the stuff.
Is he gonna progress at the same rate to be who you think
And
it needs to be? Yeah, it's a crazy, crazy thing.
and
But
the reality is you've had more of those 18 and 19-year-olds fail than succeed.
and you paid him a lot of money. And also what you've done is, I think in some ways it's starting to change back, but I think you for a while eroded a lot of popularity because draft night used to be
I think.
boom. If you
Yeah.
a lotto pick,
Yeah.
we know who you are. We know what you're gonna do. And again, these are two old men talking, but you knew if you hit the lottery, the number one overall pick, you knew what he was gonna be, a franchise changing
Yeah.
player. And the top three, probably the top five, were gonna be that. Now you got guys that get drafted, either they're from Europe or out of the country, you don't know them, or they played in high school and you don't know them unless you just one of these, basketball geeks
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
watches,
Yeah. Yeah.
reads, go to high school websites to figure out who's the best AAU prospects.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
decided
Right.
long ago, I'm not doing any of that. I'm not doing that. And so, I'm behind on a lot of these guys. Think about this. When you watch the NBA draft, really, how many guys did you know? Maybe 4, maybe 3. Again, I kept watching you. You want to see what happens with the guys from U of H. But
Right.
basically, I didn't know but maybe 2 or 3. And that could be an indictment on me in some regards, because I don't watch a lot of regular season college basketball. I'm like everybody else. When January comes around and the playoffs, between playoff games in the NFL, then I'll start to turn on. And then February, I got February and March is all college basketball. But you just don't know these guys, and that erodes the popularity of the league in some regards. But it's starting to change back, I guess. I mean,
I'm not sure if it's starting to change back. I mean, last year, I don't know how many. I doubt if I watched 10 regular season games.
right.
When prior to the last 3 or 4 years, as you say, the erosion of NBA, I was every night in during basketball season, the game is on in the room or in the house, and it's just for me, the product is just not the same, and all of the stuff that's going on,
And you see, the women's game picked up in popularity because they don't have the same option.
Right.
They have to stay in school longer, so you get to see the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark rematch the next season.
Right.
After they met in the Final Four, right?
And you
So
go from 2 million and as freshmen to 3 million as sophomores watching, and then 4 million people watching when they're seniors. And so the popularity of that game, because players are now starting to be known, because more and more people are starting to watch women's basketball, that league is growing in popularity while the NBA is not.
And men's college basketball certainly isn't. But to know that, like, okay, we're gonna see Flau'jae Johnson or whatever from LSU,
Yep.
she's gonna be back. You knew Paige Beckers was gonna be back. You knew, before last season,
The
before
girl from USC who got hurt.
yeah, Juju Watkins.
Juju, yes.
You knew they were coming back, so you knew day one. Oh, can't wait to see Iowa play LSU or LSU play South Carolina or USC play UCLA. Because you already know the players that are involved.
Well, I think the biggest thing is here we are. I'm 55. I won't say your age. I'll let you do that. But here we are
25.
talking about women's basketball and being able to literally name names
Right.
from female all over the country. That
Right.
simply right there tells you how popular the game is.
And that's how popular you can be when high quality players return to the team.
Yes.
So, and for some of them, they make more money in college than they will. I mean, obviously on their contract, but if it doesn't translate into endorsements, so but that's a whole another thing. The Fever were out of it. I think they really did. I think they made strides. I do, but I do think that they really miss Caitlin Clark because I kind of checked out. I checked out when she wasn't going to be there as much. But Nafisa Collins and Aja Wilson, and they got some players.
They got some players. I mean, you look at what happened with Angel Reese. Her Adidas dropped and sold out in 4 days. Was it 4 hours?
I don't know.
4 or 5 hours. Her Adidas dropped and they sold out on the same day. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, so that's the model, the business model right now on the college level. But football and really more so men's basketball, then that's not the model that they're following right now. So let's switch gears, talk about the NFL. A lot of big stories around the NFL. We'll start close to home. Texans do get a win. I will say it was fun and it's sort of interesting, and I think. It's encouraging that you had 2 rookies score 3 touchdowns. But what's discouraging is that it was 6-0 at the end of 3 quarters. Tennessee missed 2 field goals. You could see where Cam Wood, he made a throw against his body. He was rolling to his right, threw all the way across the field against his body, made a completion. And that's all I needed to see. The rest of the time, you look around and you realize he doesn't have much to play with. And it kept giving the Texans opportunities. Stingley ended up with an interception. And you see the kid getting a little frustrated. And the Texans finally were able to put him away. Now, like Eddie Robinson says, and you say it all the time, hey, you can't apologize for who you beat. But how much confidence do you take away? Is this a turning point for the Texans, or was this saying we're not the worst team in the division? Tennessee is. Well, what do you take away from that game?
Well, one, you got to beat the people that you play. And so you always have to acknowledge that in this conversation. But man, it was tough watching that game from a perspective of a Texans fan because Tennessee clearly has nothing going on. I mean, absolutely nothing going on. And the fact that it was still in the balance uh going into the fourth quarter is really concerning if you're a Texans fan. You're supposed to beat that team, beat them handily. We know on any given Sunday anybody can win the game, but you are a perennial, a playoff team. You have high expectations, and you struggle with Tennessee when Tennessee did not do anything, right? So
Right.
if it were Tennessee was playing lights out on this particular day, then you could, okay, but they didn't do anything, and you couldn't do anything against them until the end. And the score was so deceptive of what
Come on.
actually happened in the game.
Yeah, and of course, a lot of people riding the wave on that, and do what you got to do. If you're a fan, you got to, deal with the cards you're given, and you play that up if you want to. But I won't
Well,
just
the Dolphins
really.
beat the Jets, so now we go into the Super Bowl. So there's that.
Right. Well, and I won't, poo-poo Tennessee's defense. I don't think that they're a bad defense, by the
No, they're
way.
not.
I think they're pretty good defense. But if you have to keep defending because your offense just cannot move the ball, you miss 2 field goals. The Texans missed a field goal. And so, there's that. But they get a chance to do it again. And we're going to go to next week in just a second. But I do want to ask you, wow, there were rumors, you talked about this, maybe they may make a move with Tyreek. Now he's injured for the season. Just when they got kind of going, um, tough blow, tough blow. In spite of a really fun win with some bad uniform, man, they look great in that black on that
Hey, man.
green and orange on black. That was nice.
Hey, man, did you notice that the field, though? I mean, the field with the
Black
black and
Dolphin,
oh, yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I think we got the
that was dope.
best. What are they calling these uniforms? They have
City Pride or something. I
City
don't know.
Pride. I mean,
That's baseball. I don't know what they call them.
they got a name for them, but whatever the
Yeah,
name of these uniforms are, the Dolphins clearly have one of the top uniforms in the league.
yeah, that's
But,
sharp.
but when
That's
you
really
talk
sharp.
about uh, Tyreek, man, he's been, uh, so productive. Aside from Justin Jefferson, he has the most catches and yards and all of this stuff in the last 8 years or so. And he's just been an amazing player. And to see how that happened, and it looked like a routine play, there was nothing nefarious about it. Uh, but, prayers up for him. And he says he's going to play again. They say the surgery went well. So hopefully he'll be able to get back and get healthy and come back out on the field. But uh, the bigger point from the Dolphins is now what? Tyreek is owed $53 million next year. Now,
Right.
there's no way that he's going to see that $53 million with the Dolphins.
Will he sign the extension and get more of it sort of guaranteed, or
There's
how
no way. There's absolutely no way he's going to see any of that. The Dolphins, their best hope was he stay healthy throughout the year, and then they were able to trade him, and the team that they traded to reworked the deal and all of this stuff.
right?
Now that he is hurt, the Dolphins do have an out in his contract. They can designate him as a post June 1 cut, and they save $36 million by doing it. But
Yeah. So
yeah,
he's played his last game as
yeah,
a
he played
Dolphin.
his last game. Unless he's just willing, he moved down there, him and his family, and maybe he loves it down there and decides I just want to be in Miami and I'll do what I gotta do to be here. But aside from that,
No,
nah.
cats don't do that no more. You need
Well,
to go.
he got too many children to do that too. I mean, he got that.
he,
Yeah,
he needs all that, huh?
yeah.
So, do you have any optimism? You saw Waddle get kind of going, and Achan got going a little bit. Tua looked pretty good. Any hope? Obviously, they gave up the long touchdown run to Justin Fields, but any hope for them? And what is the ceiling with them? Does that change at all with that victory?
Well, I think that one of the things, if you're a Dolphins fan, you're optimistic that their next couple of opponents, they may be favorite in 2 out of the 3 next opponents that they play. So you're optimistic about that. I don't think that the skill positions is going to be a problem. Now, obviously, they're going to miss Tyreek, so I don't want to minimize that. But they got A-Chain, and they got Waddle, and they got Malik Washington, and they got the kid that they got from Tennessee, and they got Waller, who came in and has played, and you got the running back that's been doing really well. The rookie's name, I forget his name right now, but you got some players on offense, so you want to be optimistic about that. But as you know, this game is played in the trenches, and the offensive line has just been horrible.
Are they
And
getting better? We saw. I would say this: the Texans late in the game, especially, they were more productive with Woody Marks back there with them, and they're able to do something on the ground. So their offensive line seemed to play better, although not in pass protection, but were able to run. I think with a lot more effectiveness.
well, when you got 3 guys injured, that's automatically you got 3 backup playing. And we talked about this before. The level of play between the starters and the backups is quite substantial in the NFL, because if you have starter caliber, somebody gonna pay you the money to come start for them. And so
and also it's a chemistry thing on the offensive
all of
line
them.
too.
I mean,
Yeah.
they've had, I think it is in the first 4 games, they've had like 25 different combinations already. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
that's
insane.
not a winning. Yeah, that's
No.
not a winning
So
combination.
I
So.
think the skill positions will be fine. It's just a matter of the offensive line.
So let's talk about the next opponent for the Texans. Baltimore, man,
Uh,
it's falling apart for them bad.
Unbelievable.
You have Lamar Jackson's injury. They went to Kansas City, and I don't care if he was 100%. They weren't going to beat Kansas City that day. They have major, major issues defensively. They're banged up. They don't look good. I don't know what to say about them defensively, but offensively, it seems
Crazy.
like the Texans might have action next week against them. I don't know, but is it over for Baltimore this year? Is there enough time, depending on the severity of the injury?
Man.
What do you think?
Well, it really depends on the injury. I mean, if you get Lamar Jackson back, you got a chance. But one of the things that I really realized as I was watching the Baltimore and Kansas City game is there's a difference between championship pedigree and almost close pedigree, right? And Kansas City came into that game knowing we cannot lose this game. And so you saw that sense of urgency the whole game, and you saw the way that they played. And I'm not sure if Baltimore was able to, well, I know that they weren't able to match that intensity. And as you correctly state, there's no way that Kansas City was going to lose that game. And I don't care who they were playing.
Well, I would say this: it helps to get Xavier Worthy back, and
Yes,
it's
it did.
amazing what a difference that one
Such a
receiver
difference.
made.
Yes.
And then, can you imagine when they get Rashee Rice back after the suspension? So, I didn't think they were done. I thought that this division would be capable of upsetting them. I think Raiders not so much, but Genty had a good game. But I'm not. They're not they're not there yet. And I think under Pete Carroll in a year or two, if he's still around, I think they will be competitive. I think they're a couple years away. Denver is competitive. To me, you look at the Chargers and you're like, yeah, no,
I mean,
they're
the
not.
Chargers got offensive line problems now. I think they've lost 2 of their offensive linemen. And, when you start having those situations, it's tough to win in that division with Kansas City. But Kansas City just had a get right game. And
Yeah,
I think they really reel off 5, 6, or 7 in a row just from winning this game alone.
yeah, and again, Worthy comes back and they look like a different offense. Again, that's a woeful defense these days in Baltimore. So we'll have to see as they come up against more
But
competitive
what happened with that?
defenses.
I'm still trying to understand how that defense got so bad so quick. I mean, you're talking about
Well,
they giving up.
the first year D coordinator is one thing, right? This was a guy that I want to say he played and got injured and ended his career, something along those lines. But first year D coordinator, and he's not clearly in over his head right now. Maybe he'll find the sea legs, but also you got Roquan Smith. Those guys getting a little older, and you got some injuries, and they right now they're not it, at all defensively. So, we'll have to
Well,
see.
we've had this discussion before. I tend to think that culture and the way you go about your business can overcome some things. The
And I
fact,
think ultimately it will. Don't you think it will though?
well,
Come December, November, late November?
man, you, I don't know how much culture can overcome giving up 35 points a game.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't.
I don't know that it'll be like this, right? I don't think it'll stay like this. I think, like I said, a
Is
couple
4
of
games in the NFL season enough of a sample size to start seeing who you are?
no, I mean, to see who you are. I don't know if it's enough to see who you ultimately will be. I mean, you see it all the time with Pittsburgh. You see it all the time with teams that kind of, even with Kansas City, teams that get continually better. Things happen, evolutions, rookies step up, coordinators, make adjustments. So I don't know that it's enough to say it's over for them. I tend to believe, you take away a couple of fumbles too, by the way, by Derrick Henry, and you might be looking at something a lot different and feeling a whole lot better about your season,
And a
despite
field
the
goal
defensive.
miss a couple of weeks ago and
Yeah,
all of this stuff, yeah.
yeah. So there's that.
But
I want to
still, they're
talk.
giving up 30 points a game, and that's
Yeah,
tough.
and yeah, and so they're gonna need Derrick Henry to kind of ground and pound that, and they got Isaiah Likely back, but I don't know how much he's contributed since he's been back. Andrews is back somewhat to form. I want to ask you about Cleveland, and Cleveland playing some really good defense, by the way. Now they make a move with Flacco. Flacco is on the bench. Don't go with Shador Sanders, and they went with Dylan Gabriel. Now people are going at it again, and there's something there. There's something there that the coaching staff is seeing or not seeing. And I don't think this is a grand conspiracy against him. And I think Rex Ryan was like, his body language wasn't right. He ripped him pretty good. And, I think, Shadur's mom, went on social media, said some things. And, it's a big controversy all over again. What do you make of him still being QB3?
Well, I think that in the NFL, there's a way that the quarterback has to conduct themselves. And I'm not suggesting that in the big scheme of things, Shador has did anything that I would consider, you know, a problem, except for the way that you talk about football from a team's perspective, which I think he struggled with a little bit. And as Rex Ryan correctly states, is the way you comport yourself. There's a way that the quarterback celebrates everybody and tries to bring everybody together, and your body language, and you have to always be the guy that's got it together, even in tough times and even when things aren't going your way. And so, again, I don't want to say for fact because these are people's opinions, and the coaches in the organization has not come out and said he's done anything wrong. So I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But I will say that if those things are true and what I see from the eye test, the maturity level may be an issue.
And I don't know that he's done anything wrong as
Right.
opposed to not doing some
Doing
things
right.
right.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, obviously the ESPN guys probably a little bit close to the situation. Maybe not, but maybe they have a few more conversations and they know a little bit more about, how small the league really is. People talk, and on Tuesday, somebody will call somebody, and then, word gets back and you make a few phone calls to people in the organization. And so they may have some insight. I don't think this is a grand thing to keep him down.
Of course not.
I just think, and I also think that if he was, Pat Mahomes, he can sulk all he wants to, and they'll call him, oh, he's just a competitor. If your game don't match your attitude,
Right.
then,
Well,
and if
the
you,
one thing that I know is that the Cleveland Browns want to win games at any cost. And I also know that to the best of their ability, they're going to put the best players on the field from
yeah,
what they
because,
from what
yeah,
they think is the best player. Now, we can argue is Shador better than Dylan, and that would be a conversation. but the Cleveland Browns feel like he gives them the best opportunity to win.
And that's what I always say. I always say that. Like when people talk about, well, they just don't want. Look, if you get paid, if you pay your house note and your car note and your child's insurance and for private school, you are going to do what is best for you to win games. That's just the reality. There's not a lot of time for them to be petty. You know, if your job is on the line, and in the pressure of NFL coach is immense.
Man,
they are not gonna get caught up in BS, rumors, and they really legit. Now they always are often wrong. Well, not often wrong, but sometimes they are wrong. They go with a guy, they believe in a guy, they push a guy, they push a narrative, they get stuck in their ways, and they overlook guys. But I don't think any coach, no coach in the NFL is not trying to do every single thing they can do to win. So I don't think this is some sort of, they're going to show Dion now. It's not that, man. That man's job is on the line.
Unfortunately, and I know how people think, and I don't want to but that's an ignorant conversation, man. It really is that they're going to show Dion up. I mean, come on, man.
And so, or they want to show him a lesson, and they mad because he got whatever, man.
I mean, you're gonna risk 53 other people, entire city, in an effort to let Deion Sanders know that we ain't gonna play your son and you don't got a voice. Come on, man. That's too much.
Yeah, because like I said, you're gonna ask yourself that question. Who would you play at quarterback if your household, your bills depended on it, and you'll be out of a job? You're going to go with who gives you the best shot.
That's just the bottom line. I'm going to go with whoever I think is going to win. Now, I will say that a lot of times, if it's close, then you go with the person that you drafted higher, right? If it's,
well, yeah, sometimes
6 in one hand, 6 and a half a dozen in the other. If it's that, then we gonna go with the guy we drafted.
But not even that, because you got GMs that'll make decisions. Like we had this discussion about a veteran that I think we both know, who was brought into the Oilers back in the day. He was good. He was good enough to make the team. Made a little bit too much money, and you had a couple rookies that they thought, okay, the drop off isn't that great, and we could save hundreds of thousands of dollars on his contract. So you have those kinds of things that come into play, but those are more on the GM level than they are on a coach's level. And if there's a drop off and it's not too bad, and you can save, it's bargain basement prices. You get a guy on a rookie deal, and I think that's what's happening. Flacco came in, and again, unfortunately for him, he turned over the football. If you protect the football behind that defense, they think they can win some games. Yeah. And now with Cincinnati's collapse, and I don't think that's going to get much better, you feel like, okay, well now, things could go our way. Baltimore, Lamar's out, and that defense continues to suffer. We can win some games here. And so we'll find out. And the thing is, if Gabriel ain't it, Shedeur, he'll get a shot.
Right, he'll get a shot. And the other thing, too, is that we have to be clear about is, in of itself, I don't think that the way that Shedeur has comported himself is the reason why he's not starting. He's not starting because they believe that the other quarterback is better, and that's the only reason why he's not starting.
Right. And I think that's exactly the case. So, there's that. But it's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the NFL, and of course, we'll continue to talk about that. I do want to ask you about something that, and last time, and I don't, the entire episode didn't air. We kind of ran out of time. It was a bad travel weekend for me, and I just, it was a lot of stuff going on at KTSU, and so I had to step up in a different type of way. It was rough. It was a rough week. So we didn't get the whole episode. I did drop a couple of the shorts. So we talked a little bit about Stephen A. Smith. And politics is going to continue to rear its head. And although we probably won't get as deep as I once would have, or not right now. But then again, I might. Looking at a coach like Bruce Pearl shutting it down, and he and Tommy Tuberville and maybe Paul Feinbaum was implying he might run for office, and ESPN shelved the interview he had with the president or whatever. It amazes me. And I know you've been in the locker room with some of these guys. You are like, there's a bond, and maybe not as much on the pro level as it is on the college level, but there's something about a team coming together and being together. And I look at guys that play with black players their whole career and depended on and needed black players, black men to bail them out or to support them or help them if you're playing defense or block for them, or if they were quarterbacks, you had black men blocking for you and black men catching passes, whatever the case may be. You needed because in a team sport, you need your teammates. You needed black men to have success, and that's anywhere on any level, just about. And so you have coaches that have made millions, tens of millions of dollars, have national fame, can retire for life off the bodies and the efforts of young black men. And yet, when they get out of the game or they go into politics, the policies are so anti-black, and it's such a disconnect. First of all, as a teammate, and I know there were a couple on the Oilers, but how do you deal with that when you say, man, I know this guy, this is my brother, and now he's not in the game anymore, and he's wearing red hats? Like, what are we doing?
I will tell you that uh, I remember being at the Oilers, and we talked about this before. Tuesday nights was when the linemen went out and they would go to a bar, and they would settle up all the things and pay the fines, and the camaraderie and hang out. So I was a kid from Miami that didn't have family in Houston and still finding my way. So a couple of times I went over there, and I can remember specifically, and I won't call the guy's name, but we were sitting there and we were talking, and then all of a sudden he started talking about some of his beliefs. And it floored me because, again, this was my teammate, and this is the person that, you go to war with. And to hear some of those things was really, I really didn't know what to think. I was just floored by it. And when you in a sport like football that is something that brings everybody together, and then you get people saying things and doing things that seem to be trying to tear us all apart, it's just tough, because I do believe that you can have your view on something, and it's your opinion and how you see the world and how the world should work. But when your ideology puts, others down and lifts some up, and that's where the problem comes. Like, I don't care what you are. You can be conservative or Democrat, because I really believe this, that the majority of the country is in the middle.
Right.
I really believe that this is a common sense country. The problem is we have let the extremists on both sides of this thing take over. And the only way for you to get invited to the party is you got to go to the extremist side of this. You got to be ultra MAGA or ultra liberal if you're going to be in politics in America. You don't get to do common sense.
Well, what I will say is that, and I don't want to get too deep into it, because again, I tend to get passionate about these things, and I'm trying to woosah the whole thing until it's time. And when
Right.
it's time, it'll be time. But
Right.
it's not time yet. So, I mean, there'll be a day and there's a line, and then I'll be like, okay, now I'm gonna say what I want to say. Just like it happened in the press box at Mississippi Valley State. I'm cool until I'm not. But and
What
then I gotta
Tupac
say,
said? What Tupac said? I ain't
which
no killer, but don't push me.
right. But and again, not to imply violence, but
Right,
more
not
of
to imply.
being,
We're
but
talking
being
about, no, be
being
clear
outspoken.
about that. No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
no, we don't
Yeah.
want
So
no
yeah,
violence. We're good.
yeah. So we're just talking about in the context of really
Turning
kind
up.
of yeah, and mobilizing and
Yes,
vocalizing in ways that I haven't to this point.
yes.
It's just unfortunate to me that you go into these homes as a coach, especially you go into homes, you go into the inner cities, You go sit down with parents and Mima and Madea, and you tell them, I'm gonna take care of your son. And then soon as, it's, I guess, beneficial to you, now you wanna cut benefits and act like, that they're good people. You understand that the systems are in place that it didn't benefit them. That. These are good people, and yet you talk about things and about people that really denigrated and put down those people. And it bothers me, and it makes me want to talk to parents about being really, really careful about where you let your son go to school. Because while, yeah, he may make some money, he's making a lot more money for the coach and the AD and the people around the program. He's making a lot more money for them. And then, do you want to be on the right side of history? Do you want to be aligned with somebody that you think? And to the defense of the basketball players, I'm sure they didn't know, and maybe just look at him and say, well, he was good to me. He's a good guy. I know him. He's a good guy. He's just saying stuff. No, but those things are damaging and harmful, and especially you want to be protective of your community. And so I just wanted to comment on that.
I do think that that's the problem when you start defending this stuff. And that's where, I'll just tell you this. My pastor said this a few weeks ago. He said, we as a country have forgotten how to be embarrassed by stuff. And some comments that are now being made 10 years ago, we would have been like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. Why would you say that? And
Right.
now, oh, okay, he said it. Well, okay, moving right along.
Right.
And
There's no
that's
shame in the game,
no
and that's
shame. And
across the board.
yes,
That's across the board in all
yes,
aspects of our society. I do
yes.
think it's good to be shamed and embarrassed, because that means there are social boundaries that we have to abide by to make this thing work. So yeah, if you are embarrassed by your behavior, if you go clown in the airport or wear a bonnet and house shoes and night clothes to the airport, you should be shamed.
I mean, you
So
think about the way that social media operates. And at this point, we have all become guilty, because I'll be scrolling through and see a reel, and the next 20 minutes, I'm looking at the most embarrassing things I've ever seen in my life, and I'm
right.
smiling at it, right?
Yeah.
That says something about where we are, that nothing embarrasses us anymore. And we got to get back to a place where some things are just, we can't do it, we can't say it, it's just not right, it's not
Yeah, you're
helpful.
free to say it. We
Yes,
got yeah, you have the right to say it, but we
yeah,
had a right to kind of shush you and
yeah,
shame on you kind of
yes.
thing. And I know that can tend to be a slippery slope, but come on. Some of this stuff, what trips me out is these commercials for like medicines or ointments, and like, bro, are we really talking about this on the 5 o'clock news? Are we really? Is she really? Are we really talking about, like, is this what we doing now? And again, we're older, so we could never in 1,000 years imagine that stuff would be on the news. We could never have
Well,
imagined this.
Lucy and Ricky slept in separate beds when we
So
were
did Dick
growing up.
Van Dyke
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Laura. You know
So,
what I mean?
and now they show the bedroom, you better close your eyes or turn it off, because ain't no telling what's finna be going on up in that bed.
And look, that in the commercials. So again, and you hate to turn into two old guys talking, but again, these are the sorts of things that have kind of bothered me. But on the flip side, I am determined, and at some point, maybe even on social media, I am gonna. Have you seen the new line dance, the early in the morning line dance?
Uh-huh.
Have you seen it?
Uh-huh.
With the five fellas
Yeah,
dancing?
right. Yeah.
I gotta learn it, man. And I don't even dance like that.
Hey
But that
man,
was so cold.
come over this weekend and let's turn up. We get it right.
Hey, do you know it? Do you know any of the steps?
It won't take me long. It won't take me long.
It's gonna take me a minute.
I mean, so you spin, you turn, you kick, you do the thing, and it's gonna be all
The
right. One
the
step, two
turn got me
step.
because it was a double turn. It was a turn. See that I can do the
Hey,
turn, but the turn kind of threw
right.
me. And my man did it with the red cup in his hand. Didn't spill his drink. Took a sip.
Hey, well,
That was cold.
we might have to put on the little slower version, so we ain't turning as fast and we ain't spinning, but we still, you know what I
We're
mean?
just play the Temptations. That's
Yeah,
all. We just go
exactly,
back to my girl.
exactly,
Yeah, a
exactly.
chop and screw the line dancing. You know what I mean?
Yes. Let me ask you this question: Who do you say now are the top two teams after this week?
Wow, it's certainly not Green Bay. Green Bay, and we didn't even talk about that game. I do think it's time that we need to have give Dak his flowers. Just give Dak his flowers. You thought everything was over, especially when CD Lamb went out. Give him his flowers, man. He's playing ball. He played ball against the Giants. He's been playing ball every week. He's been playing really well.
Yeah.
And he did it again. He's played poised. And you think about that's a pressure situation. I think it's time to give Dak his flowers. But conversely, Green Bay is not who we thought they were right
Uh,
now, especially defensively. You give up 40 points to the Cowboys.
uh,
You can't do
we'll
that,
see.
man.
We'll see. Everybody get a mulligan, and we'll
But
see.
that was a game you circled. That was a game circled on you. That was a game circled because it was Micah Parsons going back to Dallas.
Right, I
So
got you.
this was not
I got
a 3 p.m. game on a random Sunday. This was on the calendar. He knew the day he got traded, the day he was coming back to Dallas. And not that he could do it all by himself, but this was a circle game.
Yeah.
And you could not get it done.
Well, I
And
think Dallas, a part of it, particularly from a defensive perspective, is Dallas did a great job of game planning for Michael Parsons. I mean, the tight end, the running back. I mean, at times he was being blocked by three people. They
But
were
you
the
know,
temp.
but they knew that. They knew it was
Right,
coming.
right, right,
We could
right.
have predicted that.
Right, but when that happens, you expect what's the other DN on the other side?
Whoever he is, he
Right.
has to make plays.
You expect him to make plays. He's been playing pretty well. So I agree with you. But when Dak has time to throw the ball and is not rushed, which is what he had this game. I mean, he had all day back there. He can make plays. I mean, he's been in the MVP conversation, over the course of his career as he's started out. So he can certainly play. Again, I think that we get the Dak that we saw Sunday 6 times a year, and then we get the other one. So, yeah,
We'll
and then
see.
we get the other one.
We'll see. Because Aaron Rodgers still winning. You were hell on him, man. You were on
Well,
him.
I will say I'm impressed with the Steelers. And when you say that, a lot of the credit goes to the quarterback. But
Right.
again, they ain't played nobody. But
You
we'll
can't do
see.
that, man. You can't have it both ways. You say, hey, no matter who you can only
Right,
beat
you
who you
gotta
play.
beat them. But the real test is when you play somebody. Because just like we said, the Texans are supposed to beat Tennessee, and they did that. Do we
Right.
really believe in them because they beat Tennessee? Do we think the Dolphins are now somebody because they beat the Jets? I mean, yes, they won, but
I think there are two different issues. I do think it all comes down to, do you think they can overcome their shortcoming? And I think the way I look at CJ, and Hayward and I debated this, and I just saw him miss throws. And statistically, he ended up with a pretty good day, right? But he missed a seam route for a touchdown. He short-armed a couple passes. And I guess the passes he didn't complete didn't look good at all. And obviously he's been sacked a lot. I don't know that they can overcome that. I don't know if they can ultimately fix that. Whereas with Kansas City, you knew that Worthy was going to be back. You knew the Rashee Rice was
yeah,
going to be back. You knew that sometimes teams have that Super Bowl hangover. Although Philadelphia hasn't, and I picked against them 2 weeks in a row. I picked the Rams 2 weeks ago, and I picked this last weekend. I picked Tampa to get them, and Philly is it's really Philly and Buffalo. Those are the two teams.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna move away from. I will move away probably from my Washington pick. I will move away from that. Although
Is
Jaden
this a
Daniels is
Jaden
clear.
Daniels thing?
Well, he'll be back, right? He's coming back, so I think
Right.
he's clear. So he'll be back. But
Right. Well, when I say that, do you think he'll change? What the way that they've been playing?
I think he'll change it. But it's a "what have you done for me lately" league, and I just don't. This week, I don't believe in Washington. But I will say this: I'm still rocking with Kansas City in the AFC.
Yeah.
I just
Well,
think that
until
they
Buffalo
got that
beat
guy.
them, until Buffalo beat them,
They got that guy, man.
but
And
Buffalo
I
was
just
good,
think
man.
for people that tired of seeing him and all, they tired of Taylor Swift, and they tired of the whole everything.
I mean, there
I
were
get
people
it.
who said they were tired of Michael Jordan, so I don't know
I
what
was
what
tired
is.
of Michael Jordan.
Oh my God! I say
Anytime you let
bring
a
him back.
man
I
just
say
go
bring
through the
him back
lane,
right now.
anytime you just let a man go through the lane and do whatever he wants to do,
Is that what happened with Jordan? They let him go through the lane.
just late in his career, they did.
What do you
After a
mean
certain
late in
point,
his career? You
them
you
second
mean
three.
the bad boys? Those people letting him go through
Nah,
the
that was the
lane?
first run. And once he got past him, you couldn't breathe on him.
Okay.
So yeah,
If they couldn't breathe on, you said they couldn't breathe on him.
nah. I mean, he
Compare that,
bad boy.
compare that to what James Harden had going on
Oh,
for
I
the
know, I
last.
know. It's a whole different era,
I
but
mean,
yeah.
it wasn't
But
even close.
I did get sick of Jordan, especially because we didn't get a chance to meet them in the final. Had we got our chance to meet him, I would have been all right. But I mean, clearly, like I said, he's much, much, much better than LeBron James. So he's that dude. He's just that dude. We old enough. Like when we saw the dudes, we know the dudes. Whether it was like Marino or some of the other, like Earl Kemp, the dudes are the dudes. You know that, and it's not just because we older. I have seen so many videos of boxing of Sugar Ray that you can never in a million years talk to me about Floyd Mayweather versus Sugar Ray Leonard. Like you just can't do that. Like you showing me you weren't there. You don't. This is not nostalgia. That was the dude. And so and boxing is different from other sports in that in the NFL people are bigger, stronger, faster. 147 is 147.
Yeah.
47 in 1984 is 147 in 2024. So, that is the most close comparisons. But
Well,
Jordan was the dude.
you can look at a skill level which Mayweather certainly was a skilled boxer, and you can look at he comes from the pedigree with his dad and his uncle and all this stuff. So
Who Sugar Ray beat him, knocked him out.
well,
But go ahead.
so with regard to Mayweather, you don't take anything from him because he was great.
He was great.
But the difference is the thing with Sugar Ray and the people in that era that you can't measure is heart, man.
Right.
Them dudes, when them dudes stepped in there, dog, it was heart. And it was all heart, along with skill and ability.
Right.
But
Well, I think
man,
that
you
they
can see their
understood.
heart on display where you don't see that now. Nobody has to show heart and fighting back when times get hard and all of this stuff.
Yeah, not the tip top guys. That you don't see those wars
Yeah.
very often at all. And I think it always came to a point in those fights back then where you knew you were gonna have to take his best shot. You knew you were gonna have to take some shots. You go
Yes.
back to 81 when he fought Hearns. He knew Hearns had a huge advantage with that jab, and he damn near got his eye knocked out. Because he kept coming forward, knowing he was gonna eat that jab until he got him. And he got him in the 13th round. So, but no, back to Jordan.
The willingness though to take that shot, like you said, knowing he coming, but also knowing I'm coming right back. Well, them was some wars, man. Those things,
And then I even go back to guys a little later on, like Trinidad and Alexis Arguello.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was so many guys. Julian Jackson, I think he fought probably 160. He was too big for Floyd. I think that's right. I think he fought at 160. But, man, Mike McCallum, and it was so many of those guys. Man, and when I look at it, it just reminds me of how ingrained, not just myself, but how ingrained society was with boxing. Boxing was super, super popular. Looking at Ring Magazine, seeing the top 10 in every division.
Must
It
see
was,
TV.
to me, man, the biggest loss in my sports life is, as far as like the evolution of sports in America, is sort of the death of boxing.
Yeah.
It's just devastating to me. It breaks my heart, man, because it was so good, man. It was so good. And also, like I said, the college basketball, men's college basketball, which was fantastic. You remember when UNLV played Arkansas the year after? Like, you like Todd Day, Lee Mayberry versus Stacey
Yeah.
Augman
Yeah.
and Larry Johnson. I mean,
Texas Southern almost beat that Arkansas team.
sure did. So
Yes.
Granger and all those guys almost beat
Yes.
him, man. So, those two things, those two evolutions in sports really have affected me. And now we're seeing like the end of Olympic sports. Olympics are not what they were when we were growing up. We were really much more patriotic about it. It was much more
Which is
pure.
odd, right? Considering the current landscape.
Right. Everybody's going to nationalism and don't want the anti-immigration across the board and all over Europe. Yeah, it's weird. But yeah, so and I think 40 years from now we'll be talking about the death of football in the same way, because I do think the NFL is smart enough to know that they're pivoting away. Look at how they are embracing flag football. Look at that. And it's weird to me, and I get it though. They want to be global, and maybe they think this is the way to go. They do. I'm sure they spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on research to see about picking and prodding and seeing how we can advance the game. They want an NBA or international popularity, but maybe the way to go is flag football. You see them; they're starting to embrace it a whole lot. Brady's getting what $2 or $4 million to go play. No, it's more than that. Playing in one flag football game in Dubai, like it's next level crazy, man.
Yeah.
And
I do want to go back to that point about boxing, though, and the demise of it. The somewhat demise. I don't want to say it's totally gone. I think that you look at the Canelo fight that we just saw with Bud, and the spectacle of it seemed to be more as important as the actual fight, right?
Well,
The-
but I think that is part of it, right? Right, the lead up, the debates, the arguments, the gambling, like
right,
the real unknown. Like, we
right.
really don't know what's gonna happen.
Yes.
So I see the appetite. I just don't see the appetite being
Well,
satiated.
you're not sure. One of the things that you can depend on in 1984 was there was going to be a fight on a Saturday, and that's exactly what you were going to see on Saturday was a fight.
Right.
And now, it seems like every time there's a fight, you may not be disappointed with the outcome of who won, but you're certainly disappointed in what actually happened in the ring.
Yeah, and I think the demise of the heavyweight division really led to the collapse of it. Not having an American contender. Deontay Wilder was
Yeah.
out there, but he was never that dude. I mean, he was huge. I almost think those guys had me thinking, well, maybe we need to have a super heavyweight division. Where it's hard to have a guy 208 fighting a guy that's 265.
What
And
did Tyson fight at? 215?
220, 226, and when he fought Evander, I think Evander was 208. But
Yeah.
now Lennox Lewis was probably 235. And you probably had Evander at about 215,
Well, that's
maybe.
what I mean. So then
Yeah.
you're talking about those guys fighting somebody that's 265.
Yeah,
just-
and you talk about the Gypsy man. He's 6'7", and Wilder's 6'5", and damn near 300 pounds. It's something, man.
Those
But
supposed to be defensive ends, huh?
something, man. I tell
Yeah.
you what. But hey, man, great talking to you. I want to remind people you can call us on the sports line
Let's go.
832-941-6614, and of course on the text lines. On the YouTube channel Devin Wade is the channel. Sports Talk with Devin Wade group on Facebook, man. Hey, great conversation, man. I've enjoyed it.
Hey,
Again,
man, the one thing that I need to say is, how can I get on your back wall, man? Can I get a picture?
I
Can I
got you
get
right
something
there.
on the wall?
Hey, man,
Man.
give me an ASU helmet, man. That's what I want. Or a jersey. Give me your jersey number from
You got
ASU.
to do something for me to get on
I'll
the
case
wall,
you
man.
up, man.
Yeah.
I'll encase you, man. Give me that ASU. That Swarm is one, man.
Man,
But it's got to be retro.
Hey, man, you treating me like I'm on the special teams, bro.
Hey, man, no, man, you got space, man. I got space.
Okay,
I got a bunch of walls over there. You can go over there with Coltrane and Miles Davis. I got them over there.
Oh,
So,
let's
yeah.
go. Put me over there with them. That's about right. That's where I want to go with Coltrane, for sure.
Put you on my educator's wall.
Nah, keep me
That's
over there with
inside the
Coltrane.
closet. That's on the top inside.
Keep me over there with Coltrane.
I need that. Hey, give me that Hornets jersey, man. We'll rock it.
Yeah.
We'll frame it.
I'll
I'll
be
buy
down
the
there in a
frame.
couple of weeks. I got you.
I'll buy the frame. Hey,
Yeah.
man, I always enjoy it. And until next time, please remember these 4 things.
Number 1, I don't do no favors after 6 o'clock in the evening. 2, I ain't got no money. 3, I'm not harboring any fugitives from justice. And 4, bye.
This has been the Sports Talk with Devin Wade podcast. Remember, you can follow him on Twitter at Wade's Word. Thank you for listening.